studio. Today I want to show you how to do the twice melted wax pendants. And I know I always say this, but I think this is really one of my favorite all-time projects. It just turns out so incredible every time. You get something different every time. So it's a lot of fun. So let's get started and show you how we do it. These are all the different pendants and necklaces and bracelets and all kinds of different fun things that I came up with using the wax as our color base and adding a little bit of glitter. And see how fun they are. And while we've got all the different shapes and sizes, and you can find some of the smaller ones and different ones in the stores, I found some really wonderful ones that we sell at Miriam Joy that I have not found in the stores. These are deeper. We have an oval. We also have a circle, which I've got running around here somewhere. We've got one here to show you, and pendants and a heart. And these are really, really great. They're deeper. Now the pendant is not quite as deep as the other ones are, but they work just as well. I melt my crayon in my low temp melting pot, and you can find those at miriamjoy.com. I use a Crayola crayon. I break it right about there into two pieces, peel the paper, and put it right in the well and let that warm. And then while it's warming, we're going to use glass eyedroppers, which you can also find on our site. And it's real important that they're glass and not plastic. And you're simply going to set that in the wax in the well, just right like that. And a lot of people want to know how they clean them, and I don't clean mine. I leave one for each color. The one thing that I will do is once I am done with a color is I'll make sure I squish it really well and get as much wax as I can out. You never want to pull the wax all the way up into the bowl, because once the wax dries it hardens and then it's really hard to get it working again. But they're inexpensive enough that you can do one for each color. So that's kind of the basics on how we're going to start that. On the Christmas one, I'm going to use a frame pendant. This guy is not as deep, so he's not going to take as much. So we want to think about Christmas colors. So of course when we start with Christmas, we always think of red, don't we? So I'm going to start with red. Now remember, we want to keep him under that inside. We don't want the wax higher than the outside, so that's real important. We want to think about that. And we want to make sure we build up the wax in the middle, though, a little bit as well. And so we're going to start with red. And of course I'm going to use some yellow. And this is dandelion yellow. And that just adds the pop like we talked about. And then I'm going to use two colors of green. I'm going to start with my green yellow first. And if you drop it on there, I'm going to try and get that off a little bit while it's still wet. They're a little bit harder to get off. And last time I took my toothbrush and did that. And you can even seal it first and then come back and get that out. So it's good to kind of know how to do that, because if it happens to me, chances are it'll happen to you. So I'm going to deal with that a little bit later. You could even heat it up a little bit and then wipe it off with the... And let's go ahead and do that, just so you can see. I'm going to just heat that up just a little bit right there. You see how it's nice and melted? And then I'm going to come in with my Q-tip and take that out a little bit more. And you can go back and forth till you get that all the way melted out. So that's how you kind of deal with a drip if you do the pendant. Now the other ones, you're not going to have to worry about that, because they're just on the side and you just pull them right off the side. So that's easy enough. So we're back on our yellow-green. And then I'm going to use green. going to go back and make my red bigger. And I still want a little bit to put some gold into, and I'm going to be using Sunburst Gold. So we want to leave, you know, when you need to kind of think about all the colors that you're using when you're doing that. Okay. And I dropped it right there, but that's okay, it does not matter. And that's pretty well all the way around. So we're going to let this dry for just a minute to get it all the same coolness, so when we heat it, that it all heats up about the same time. When I get back from that, after we do that, I'm going to put some gold glitter on, and I really like this gold glitter because it's got really fine glitter, plus it's also got some bigger glitter, so it kind of gives you that Christmas sparkle. So that's why I like using that one. And I'm also going to put some micro beads in this one, and I'm going to try and put it on just the green, and on the gold I'm probably going to try to put just on the gold or the yellow. And micro beads come in different colors so that you could do gold or red or whatever you wanted to do, but I like to keep it just to the different, confined just to the different areas. That way you don't overdo it on the necklace, but you still have all that fun sparkle. So I'm going to go ahead and try warming that up now. I'm going to set my tool aside. Again, that's the Itsy Bitsy 00 tool. And I'm going to start on the outside first and work my way in. You can see that's starting to melt. And sometimes you might want to bring it up a little higher so you're not blowing that around too much. And I'm going to make sure my tool is nice and warm as well. And then I'm going to kind of, let's see, if you run into a chunk that's not melted all the way, it's kind of a hard piece. And you can just keep melting that. And I kind of want to make a swirl in this one, kind of like a Christmas swirl. And I almost have that where I want that. So I think that is really, really good. So I'm going to come in while it is still warm, and we're going to put our Christmas spirit on. And using your fingers with this is the best way to apply it. I haven't found a better way. And I'm going to just put a few micro balls on just that darker green, and maybe just a little bit right around there. You don't want to overdo it. Now I am going to heat those just a little bit, especially because the micro balls are heavier. But I don't want to move the wax around anymore. I like that design. So there is how we do our Christmas one, and I'm going to go ahead and get ready and put my coating over that just as soon as it cools. And we can use different things to cover it. We've got 3D crystal lacquer and we've got Mod Podge. You may find that you prefer one over the other. The Mod Podge is supposed to be a little bit more heavy duty, so you could use that one if you prefer. So, but the crystal lacquer, I did a few of them with the crystal lacquer as well. So that's the reason we do not want the wax above, is we have to make sure that the crystal lacquer or the Mod Podge touches the metal If it doesn't touch the metal, it's not going to seal the wax completely, and it's real important that we get a nice heavy coat on this so that the wax is sealed completely and it doesn't melt if somebody was wearing it and go anywhere. So that's real important. And I start around the edges, make sure we're touching that metal, and just work your way in, and it's going to be a nice thick coat. If you have any bubbles, you can usually get them out with a pin, a straight pin, or they come out. Sometimes you can just grab them and they'll come out. And we're just going to keep going around and around. Now you can see my wax actually goes down in, but that's okay because this is where the coat on top is going to cover all of that up. So then you would just let that completely dry, and that's going to take a while, probably overnight, if not longer, and just make sure it's nice and flat. And then once that's dry, all you're going to do is take your chain and run it through, and you have a neck. If you enjoyed our video today, come on over to miriamjoy.com, where we've done a class DVD on the twice melted wax necklaces. And if you think that's easy to say, try it a few times. And there's Christmas ones, Halloween ones. We've got, shows you how to do a stone, and we've also got kind of an oriental one there for you. So check those out. They're a lot of fun. I'm sure you're going to get as addicted as I did.